Hi, how you doing? Today, I stopped and got this KFC chicken tenders meal. Let's take a look at what's inside that. Okay, here we go. Box of chicken tenders. That's no surprise. Okay. Couple of napkins. And some silverware that we don't need. Another box. In this box, we've got some biscuits. Yeah, KFC always has good biscuits. And we've got some honey mustard sauce. Potatoes. Okay. I might have a couple of these potatoes. And coleslaw. Yeah. Some gravy. Got to make a hole in the potatoes so you can put the gravy in it. Yeah. And we've got some coleslaw here. Yeah. I think KFC makes some of the best coleslaw. Yeah. Not bad, not bad. Honey mustard sauce. Okay. Yeah. I would say we're set. Not bad at all. Kind of like that chicken. So I was thinking the other day about some of my favorite places to visit. And I remembered one that was not so favorite. As a matter of fact, maybe the worst place that I was visiting while I was in the Navy. There's a small island in the Indian Ocean called Diego Garcia. And I ended up there for a while. It was a temporary place that I was going to so I could fly off of there and get to my ship. Bad. It's owned by the British, but the U.S. military has a base on there just for like a staging area. I really wouldn't even call it a base. We lived in some temporary wood housing, like little Quonset huts or something. They were just some wood frames that had a wire mesh screen going around them to keep the mosquitoes out. It was like the screens in your house. So, a couple of things that made the little island not so nice was the fact that it's a little too close to the equator to suit me, which means extremely hot. As a matter of fact, almost miserable hot. If we didn't have work to do for that day, because I was temporary there, my one friend and I would just go down to the exchange store on the military base and pick up a couple of 6-packs of beer and walk back to the lagoon. Right outside the Quonset hut area, there was a lagoon. And since it was so hot, the way we kept our beer cold was to sit it in the lagoon. So basically, him and I would spend a lot of days sitting in the water from the lagoon, keeping cool, drinking beer, and telling stories about where we've been and where we're going. So, I met him there, and he had been on the base a little bit longer than me, so he was temporary also. But there was nothing to do. It wasn't like you were in civilization. It was actually, the island is owned by the British, and it's more of a wildlife preserve, I believe, than anything. But there was nowhere to go. So, as we were sitting in a lagoon drinking, I said to him one time, you've been on this island longer than me. There's really nothing to do here. He said, nah, there's not much to do. We could go to the movie theater. That's about it. Ah, okay. I'm starting to think, well, there's nothing here. There's a movie theater. I didn't see a movie theater. Been there for a week or two. He said, yeah, there's a movie theater. So I was like, all right. At least there's something to do. So I said, okay, then we'll go to the movie theater. Yeah, that's good. So it started to get toward dark, where the sun was going down. And he said, okay, let's go. So off from the lagoon we go. We go past the area where the Quonset huts are. And we're going down this dirt road. Road, in quotes, it's a path, really. Where the trees are cut down, there's this path, and we're going back through this path. And he says, oh, here we are. Here we are. I don't see anything. I'm looking around, and there's trees. There's a clearing where the trees are cut down, and there's some trees on the ground, like logs. And he goes, all right, come on, sit down. Here we go. The movie will soon start. And I'm looking at him like, this guy might be a little crazier than I thought. But then the way we're facing, sitting on these tree logs, I realized there's like a white screen, like almost a sheet or something, suspended by 2 ropes that are tied to trees. And I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. Hmm. No. He wasn't kidding. So here we sit on these logs, and I noticed as a couple minutes are going by, a couple of the other guys are coming out from these Quonset huts and stuff, and we're all lined up on these tree logs. And I look back, and there's a little booth back there with an old projector type movie player, like a reel to reel thing. Sure enough, that guy is running the movie, and it's playing on this white sheet looking thing. Okay, that's the movie theater. I know when I tell you the name of this movie, you're going to think there's no way. This guy's crazy. But the movie was big at the time. The movie was called The Blue Lagoon. And I just thought that's not even right. It's not even right. We're stranded on this tropical island, and they're going to play The Blue Lagoon. That's just wrong. Okay, there it was. Movie started playing. Watched the whole movie. Off we go. Back to the Quonset huts and crash for the night. Get up the next morning, and when I say this island was primitive, it was very primitive. I go out in the morning to get showers, and you walk around the side of the Quonset hut, and there's these wood booths with garden hoses set up over the top of them for the showers. That's all you got. Just bad. But we go on the next couple of days. Let's say there was no work assigned that day for the temporary people. My friend and I would go down to the exchange, pick up beer, go back to the lagoon. We could always see some of the native people on the other side of the lagoon, sort of like fishing and stuff. So I said to my buddy, hey, are we going back down to the movie theater again this evening? Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, that was kind of a lame movie, but, we can see what else they got. He says, okay, sure, there's nothing else to do. So that evening also, we go back down to the circle clearing in the woods to the movie theater. The guy back there running the little booth starts the movie. It's the same movie. It's The Blue Lagoon. It turns out that on the island there, they only get a new movie once a month. 13 nights we watched the Blue Lagoon. Yeah, 13 nights. Yeah. It was like Groundhog Day. If you ever saw that movie with Bill Murray, you get up in the morning, the same thing. You go out to get a shower, turn the garden hose on. There you go. Report to the muster where you see what work orders you have or anything. And you're hoping every day that your name gets called, because that means they have orders for you to get off of the island. No. I stayed on that island for 3 or 4 weeks, doing the same thing day after day. Well, one day it got a little exciting, if you can call it that. It started out just like every other day, and my buddy and I walked down to we didn't have any work to do again, so we walked down to the exchange, pick up some beer, and head to the lagoon. Sitting in the lagoon, drinking beer, telling stories, and all of a sudden we noticed that the natives that we could see fishing over there, they had their canoes, and there would normally be like 3 or so of those canoes with 4 or 5 guys in the canoes. And they're just fishing. They're doing their own thing. We don't pay no attention to them. But for some reason, on this day, they're making a commotion. They're jumping up and down, hollering and screaming and hoopling and everything. And both of us look over at them and we're like, what are they doing? No idea. Well, normally they're just catching fish and they putting the fish in the boat and stuff. Now, it's not the same story. They start to pull this thing out of the water, and like 3 of them have a hold of it. And this thing is bigger, easily bigger than a foot or so across. And we're looking at it and we're going, is that some kind of a snake or something? What are they doing? Next thing you know, they've got these canoes circled into an area, and it used to be like 2 or 3 guys had a hold of it. Now 4 or 5 guys had a hold of it. Now it is spanning across another canoe, and another couple guys have a hold of it. They just keep pulling it out of the water. This makes no sense to us, and him and I look at each other and we're going, you could read the thoughts in our minds, because we're going, we're in the lagoon. That thing that they're pulling out of the water is in the lagoon. And both of us get up and head for the shore. And we're standing there looking at this thing, and by now it's out of the water. But it has to be taking 10 or 15 guys to hold this thing. And they've got a hold of it with their arms, and they're struggling with it, and they get it into these canoes, and off they go, still hollering and screaming and cheering. Now, my buddy and I are trying to make sense out of this. Like, okay, what is that thing? We've been here at least 10 days or more already, and haven't seen them catch one of those. Yeah, but it's in the lagoon water where we're at. So your first thought is this thing dangerous? So, we're logical people. We both come up with a solution to this. Well, if it's some kind of a large eel or snake or fish or something, it probably just eats like seaweed and stuff. That sounds good. And since we've been in the lagoon already for 10 days at least, maybe more, and it hasn't bothered us so far, then evidently it's perfectly harmless. Right back in the lagoon drinking beer. We never did figure out what it was. Throughout time, I've talked to some people about what it might have been. And maybe a thing called an oarfish, which is some type of a fish that's big, that size. I looked up a picture of it one time and on Google or something, and these oarfish can get this big as the thing they were pulling out of the water. So maybe that's what it was. But him and I never knew what it was. We just figure if it didn't bother us, we're not going to bother it. That chicken's not bad. So, we just started calling it the Sea Serpent. We didn't know. Then we started warning the other guys who would come to the lagoon, hey, keep an eye out for that Sea Serpent thing. Probably about a week or so later, though, I went to muster in the morning, and they finally called my name for orders to get transported off of there. But like I said, it was like that movie Groundhog Day. And the one day of the year that I didn't believe I was going to get transferred off of there was April the 1st, when I finally got the orders. And I really thought that it was just a gag because it's April Fool's Day. I thought maybe they're just going to call everybody's name, you know, because they knew, oh, you're hoping to get off of the island and stuff. But no. Once I got up there, they had the orders, and I was gone on April Fool's Day. Well, that's enough of that chicken. It's good. That'll wrap it up for today. Take care of yourself. Enjoy. See you later.